Alright guys, so like I said, our mini quizzes are every other day this unit. So we don't have a mini quiz today. We will have a mini quiz next class, but it will be on two things. What we learned from last class and what we're doing today. Okay, so it's going to be on our slope from last class, and it will be on learning how to graph today. Alright, so today what we're doing is we're continuing with what we learned from last time. We talked about how we need to know slope in order to graph a line. So today we're actually learning how to graph a line. Okay, so there is a graphing song. I am not going to sing for you though. If you want to sing it, you are welcome to do so. But it pretty much just is a way to kind of remember how we go about graphing. But we're just going to talk about it. And Anthony said he's going to sing a solo next time. Alright, so slope-intercept form, this is one of the biggest concepts that you learn in Algebra 1. Our slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And we talked about this last class, but we only talked about it briefly to discuss slope. So we're going to learn how to take our slope, which our slope is m, slope, and our b value, we're going to work with now our b value. This is our y-intercept. Y-intercept. Who remembers what a y-intercept is?
Where the point crosses the y-axis.
It's where it crosses the y-axis. So if I'm looking on my graph, the y-intercept is where it crosses your y-axis. So I'm just going to say that right. It might be positive, it might be negative, it might be 0. That's where it crosses our y-axis, this guy. Now just a reminder, as we were refreshing our memories with when we went over the warm-up, or sorry, over the homework, our slope is rise over run. Rise, we're talking about going up or down. Run, we're talking about going left or right. Okay. So what we're going to do, we'll look at the song here to kind of guide us, is we're going to take our y-intercept and we're going to graph that first. We're going to plot that point. That's why it says you take your last number first. You take the y-intercept and you plot that point. And then we take a look at our slope, and from there we're just going to count however much we go up and however much we go over. Okay, so we're just plotting a point and then counting our slope from there. Okay, so before we actually start graphing, let's just make sure we can identify our information. So this chart here, we're just simply identifying what is our slope. Our slope is our m, and our y-intercept, which is our b value. Alright, so in my equation, remember it's y equals mx plus b. So if I can sneak both in there. So m is in front of x, b is our number on the end. So for this first one, my slope is 1/2, and my y-intercept is -2. So right now we're just identifying it from our equation. Alright, for our next one here, remember we want the number in front of our x. When there's no number listed there, that means our number is 1. So my slope here is 1. What is my b value, my y-intercept? 4. And notice it's a positive 4. Good. For our next one, our slope here is -2.
And the y-intercept is
good, -3/5. Now hopefully we don't have to graph that one. We can graph fractions, they're just not as nice to graph as other whole numbers. Alright, what's our slope for this last one?
3/5.
Good, our slope is what's in front of x, so our slope is 3/5. But where's the b value? Yeah, our b value is 0. If it's not there, then we have no b value, so our b value is just 0. So our y-intercept there is 0. Good. All right, so let's go ahead and use this information to graph our lines. It says graph the slope and y-intercept. Then identify the domain and range. All right, so let's go ahead and write out what our slope is. Our slope is 2/3. It's gonna be really hard to graph if it's not gonna orient for me. And what's my y-intercept for this guy? Negative. Because I don't trust the smart board, I'm gonna do this from my computer. So the first thing we do is I take my y-intercept, -4,
Place from the other.
and you want to plot it at -4. So remember y-intercept, this is our y-axis. It's negative, so I go down 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's my dot.
But you will be going up 2, 3.
Okay. So this is our starting point, and then now we use our slope. So we have 2/3. So remember, 2 is how much we go up or down. 3 is how much we go left or right. Now, because they're both positive, where's my eraser? Because they're both positive, then that means I'm going to be going up 2 and to the right 3. So I'm just going to count from here, from my point that I just did, up 1, 2, and to the right, 1, 2, 3. That's my next stop. And then from there, we just keep going. Up 1, 2, over 1, 2, 3. I would keep going except I'd go off the graph, so I don't need to worry about that. And then we can go ahead and connect our dots. So I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to, again, do it from up here since my computer is struggling. Make sure you do put arrows on the ends. And that's our line.
Would we, for the domain, we just write down the x value?
Yeah, so domain are the x values. Range are the y values. Now remember, we have arrows on the end. And so this means it's going down forever and to the left forever. This is going up forever and to the right forever. So if I'm forever to the left, forever to the right, what is my domain?
Real numbers?
All real numbers.
If something has arrows going both directions, is it always a real number?
So like for this one, because my arrow's like this, it's going to be both down and to the left. You might have where both arrows, like we've seen graphs where our graph looks like this.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be going down, it'd be going up forever. But we have up and to the left, up and to the right. So you still have your domain would be all real numbers, but your range wouldn't. Whereas here, this one is going down, this one is going up, so my range is all real numbers because it's going both ways. Here, neither one's going down, so I can't say all real numbers for range because it's going up. But we would have all real numbers for domain because it's going both
Would
ways.
there ever be a graph where it shows like that symbol right there going both up and one going down?
We do have a graph that's like this. So here we can see it's going up and going down. But for this specific U shape, in order for it to be going down, it'd have to curve back around it eventually. Okay, so our range, those are our y values. And again, we said it's going forever down, forever up. So that means we have all real numbers. You may remember from a previous class, I told you that when we graph lines, your domain and your range will always be all real numbers, all real numbers. So on the test, I better see everyone getting those right because that's what the answer is always going to be for lines, for our lines. Okay, I want to see how far off this is. That's not too bad. Okay, so for number 2, we have f of x. Remember, that's just the same thing as saying y equals. That's all that f of x means. So let's first identify our slope. Our slope here is -3/4. What's my y-intercept? Good, positive. So we always start off by plotting that y-intercept. We need to know where our starting point is before we start counting the slope. So I have positive 2, so I count up 1, 2. And from here, I'm going to do my slope. So let's take a look at our slope.
Down.
Yeah, see how it says negative 3? That means I'm going to go down 3. Negative is down or left. Yes.
Are you able to pick whatever number of the fraction which is negative?
So yeah, you actually can say either the 3 is negative or the 4 is negative. And I'll show you how that changes. You get the same answer in the end, but I'll show you how it's a little different. Alright, so since 3 is negative, that means down. My 4 is positive, so I'm going to go to the right. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3. To the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not that way. And down 1, 2, 3. So again, from this point, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3. To the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to leave it off that. And then connect this. Now, Eric asked a good question. He said, can't you choose which number has the negative? And the answer is yeah. So we could, instead of saying negative 3 over 4, I could say 3 over negative 4. So what that changes then is my 3, since it's positive, I'll go up 3. But now that the 4 is negative, instead of going right, I'm going to go left. And so, Eric, what you'll see happens here is from this point, if I go up 1, 2, 3, to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4.
You're just filling up the other side.
You're just filling up the other side. And even if I went from like here, up 1, 2, 3, to left, 1, 2, 3, 4, it gives you the same thing. So that's why you can do either one, because it'll give you the same thing. All right, go ahead and connect those. Put arrows on the end, because our lines go on for forever. And again, our domain's real easy. X belongs to real numbers.
Oh, we have to put them in
Set builder. Yep. And our range, all real numbers. Again, that's because this goes down forever, to the right forever, up forever. Okay. Let's go and flip it over to the next page. Alright, so 3 and 4, same idea. We want to first identify our slope. It's already y equals. So my slope here would be, let's try orienting again. Let's see how long it lasts. Alright, so my slope is 2. And my y-intercept is what? 1. Now, when my slope is just that nice whole number, we need to know how much are we going up, down, how much are we going left, right. We want to make this into a fraction. How can I make 2 as a fraction? Over 1. Good. So 2 divided by 1 is just 2. So anytime you have a whole number where there's not a number underneath, you just put over 1. And then we do the same process here. So my y-intercept is positive 1. Positive 1. And then I have my slope is positive 2, positive 1. So I go up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1. And we can connect these. Now, if you wanted to fill out the other ones, we're just going to do the opposite. So I would go down 2, left 1. Down 2, left 1. You don't have to draw on all those dots. As long as you've got these ones, you can connect it. And that would be fine. But we see our slope is positive. I should have this line that's positive in the end. Make sure you put your arrows on the end. And again, our domain and range, all real numbers. All right, number 4 over here. We need to identify our slope. We need to identify our y-intercept. I want you to go and turn to someone nearby you and say what your slope and y-intercept is. Let's make sure we're all okay with that. Say hello, person next to me. The slope is, the y-intercept is. Yes, Angela. Go and get out your agenda. I'll write you up. All right. What is our slope? -3. Good. -3. And we're going to go and put that over 1. Good. And what is our y-intercept? The y-intercept is annoying you? Get really leave them alone. Alright, good. Our y-intercept is 5. So again, you start off by counting up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plot that dot. And it's -3 for 1, so that means I'm going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3 to the right one. Down 1, 2, 3 to the right one. Before you draw that line and move on to the next problem, make sure that if it has a negative slope, my line looks like it has a negative slope. If you accidentally go the wrong way, it would have been positive. So you want to just make sure it matches up. All right, I'm going to go and fill in the rest. 1, 2, 3, 1. All right. Put your arrows on the end. Again, my domain is all real numbers. My range, all real numbers. Wow.
Because it's a line, right?
It's a line. Yeah, that's only true when we have lines. All right. Questions on how to graph it when they give us the equation already in the nice y equals format? Okay. So sometimes they don't give it into us in the nice y equals format. That means we have to. That's why it was something we practiced in previous units, because we needed it for this moment here. So just a reminder of how to solve for y, because we want to get y by itself. We want it in this format.
Mas we have 4, 5 dinner.
5, 6, 8, 4, 5. So this is not currently in that format, y equals mx plus b. We want it in that format. So just a reminder, in order to solve for y, you want to add or subtract your x's. Add or subtract your x's. Alright, and remember that when we add or subtract our x's, usually it's not like terms. So you're probably not going to combine them. Okay, so write it separately. Write the x first, then the number. Okay, they usually aren't able to combine them together. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this example here. So the first step, add or subtract your x's. So I see that I have x's here. I want to get rid of negative 5x, so I want to add 5x and do it to both sides.
Oh, you want to put the x to find out
Good.
right.
So I cannot combine 10 and 5x. They're not like terms. So I'm going to write my x first. Write the x first. That's positive 5x. And then it's a positive 10. All right. And next we want to divide by the number in front of y. Divide by number in front of y. So for this example here, what am I going to do? I have 2y. What do I need to do? Divide by 2. Divide by that number in front of y. All right, and then our last step is just simply to simplify. So let's go and finish our dividing here. 5 divided by 2. We can't reduce. But what's 10 divided by 2?
10 divided by 2. 5.
Good try. Okay, so it's just a reminder of how to solve for a y. So this is the equation that we're looking at here.
Wait, 2 points. So, if we were to take 5 divided by 2, what do we get? 2 divided.
Yep. And so for slope, we want to see it as a fraction because that allows us to know how much we go up or down or over. But it would be 2.5, and then you just convert it back to a fraction.
I would use Google.
There you go. And that's fine. That's fine. Okay. So y equals 5 halves, x plus 5. So same thing, now that we've done that y equals, now we're just doing what we did before. All right, Anthony. What's my slope? Very good, 5 over 2. And Kimberly? What's my y-intercept? So let's stay focused and write out what we wrote out.
What do we get out the chart plotting these?
What's that?
When do we get out the graph plotting them?
When do we get out the
Like, what do we get out the graph plotting the points?
Yeah, so we're gonna plot our y-intercept and count our slope to get our next points and graph it just like this. Oh.
We're already like at 5 and like we're going up 5 more. So.
Yeah, I mean you could look at the table and get the points to help you up as well. But it's probably gonna be easier just to count it on here. But you can always look at the paper, double check it. It's not a bad idea. Alright, so my y-intercept, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh.
That's
That's what you're saying, it's going off the graph.
Yeah.
I got you now. So see how if I were to count up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we kind of go off the graph. So let's just do the reversal. So we would go up and to the right. So now let's just do the opposite. Let's go down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and to left 1, 2. Down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to left 1, 2. So again, just double check that if I were to connect this, would that give me a positive slope? Let me put my arm. Is that positive? Yeah. So positive, our slope's positive, we're okay. So if it's going to go off your graph, again, just do the opposite. Instead of going up and right, we go down and left.
But wouldn't we have to make it negative?
So what that ends up saying is that if I do the opposite, so I would have negative 5 and negative 2. What's that going to divide by negative? So these are equivalent. So this one says we go up and right. This one says we go down and left. These are the exact same numbers. And it simplifies that, which is why it gives you the same. Okay, and then again connect. Put arrows. And our domain, all real numbers. Our range, all real numbers. Okay. Any questions on that one? Okay, so I want you guys to go ahead and try this one here. First, get y by itself. We want y equals.
Wait, so would it be, well, for the number one we just did, that would be all real numbers, right?
All real numbers. Still just a line. All real numbers. Alright, so I want you guys to go and try numbers 2 and 3. Again, we want to get this by itself. So first, add or subtract your x's, then divide by that number in front of y. You're fine.
But mine is negative. Would it be minus negative 24?
So we would have 12x and then it's a negative 24. So negative. We're not subtracting the 24. We're assuming the 12x. So plus a negative just means minus. So it would be negative 4. Yes.
I don't understand.
Because what happens is if you try to count 12, you're going to go on the graph right away. So we want to simplify it. So we say it's
And I would do the opposite. So I would be so So then you did 30 for this.
See, and you only need to only just 3 points. This is good. This is good. Yeah. So you want to divide what is your x? Okay. So what is 12 divided by x? Good. And what is negative 4 x? Because that's what we'll sum for y equals in front, and I'm going to make 4. And then
That's 24.
that looks good. Now, when we do this, we're going to write x's first. All right. There you go. So this is now what's our knowledge? You don't add it because then that's right out. So you there's no numbers.
You all forgot.
So, negative 4 1. Yeah. So that means it's up to 2. And then from that point, it's up. So guys, again, do 2 and 3. Go ahead and check with your shoulder partner. Make sure you're on the right track. So those cancel.
Let's go. I'm so smart.
Why would you have to give me money for
So you're gonna take it out of the long division.
Good try. That's good.
So now we have those.
You're buying one.
So that's our equation. So see your
Oh my God, negative one. Keep going.
So you get 4%. Because I didn't say that today.
Alright guys, let's take a look at
Yeah,
two.
you wouldn't get reward for it.
Alright, so number two, I need to again, our directions I get to first move the x's. So if I have negative 12x, I want to say plus 12x. Do it on both sides.
Right with the equation.
So I have 6y.
12x.
And my 12x I want to have first, so it's a positive 12x. And then it's a negative 24.
Divided by 6.
I need to get y by itself, so divide by 6 on both sides. 12 divided by 6 is 2. Still have our x. Negative 24 divided by 6 is negative 4. And here's our equation. Alright, so now we just have to identify our slope. Y-intercept. Good. My slope is 2. My y-intercept, negative 4. So I'm going to go and plot negative 4. So I go on my y-axis, down 1, 2, 3, 4. Now my slope, I want it to a fraction. So 2, same thing as 2 over 1. So from here, go up 1, 2, the right one. Up 1, 2, over 1. Up 1, 2, over 1. And you can keep going, but again, you only need 3 points
To make
the line. And just make sure we have a positive slope. My line should have a positive slope there. So my domain All real numbers. My range. All real numbers. Okay. So we have questions on number 2. So same thing for number 3. I have to get y by itself. So I have a negative 4x. How do I get rid of that?
Plus 4x.
Good. Plus 4x do it on both sides.
Do
I'm going to
that.
draw the line. I know some of you guys like that. So negative 10y equals, I can't combine these because one has an x, one does not. So I have positive 4x minus 1.
Divide by negative 10.
Good. We're going to divide by negative 10.
Which 4 divided by negative 10 is 0.4, which is 4 times. So you can simplify that to 2 fifths.
Good. So if you put 4 divided by negative 10 in your calculator and then have it turned back into a fraction, we get negative 2 fifths. Don't forget your x. Negative 20 divided by negative 10 gives us a positive. All right, my slope is negative 2 fifths. My y-intercept is plus 2. Positive 2. So I go to a y-intercept of
Still,
positive 2.
it would be the same thing as if you accidentally did it as 2 fifths, right?
No, you would have, if you did 2 fifths, your line looks like this. Negative 2 fifths, our line would look like this. If you did, but you could change it and say instead of negative 2, or if I can say 2 over negative 5, that would be fine. You can leave your negative, but you can't just get rid of the negative.
So if I,
All right, so I have negative 2 over 5, so I'm going to go down 2, and to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, if I want to do opposite of that, I would just go up 2 to the left. What's that?
that's the y-intercept.
Negative, negative 20 divided by negative 10. Negative divided by negative is positive. And next. And again,
Real numbers.
I didn't do pseudo there. Again, just double check. We had a negative slope. I should have that negative slope. My domain, all real numbers. My range, all real numbers.
I understand this word.
Do we have questions with this one? Let's see. For right now, whenever we have lines like this, it's always going to be all real numbers. Our other graphs don't have that. So like later on, we'll have graphs that look like this. That's not always all real numbers, but for our lines, all real numbers. And the reason for that is I have it going up forever, down forever. So that's all real numbers for my y's. And that's going left forever and right forever, so it's all real numbers for my x's. My son can do better than that.
He's crying because he can't eat it.
Alright, so 4 and 5, we've got some of these kind of multiple choice questions that the SWL likes to ask. My least favorite is this one on the right because it takes half a page for one question. That's
Those are
okay.
my favorite because
It takes half a page for a question. All right, so number 4 says, which equation best represents the line M? Okay, so here they've given us our line. What type of line is that? It's a horizontal line, isn't it? So whenever you see vertical or horizontal, you want to think of these two. Now we have a horizontal line. So horizontal line, they just want the equation. They didn't ask about slope here. They just want the equation. So my equation is going to be y equals a number. Well, let's take a look. What is that number? What's my y value? -2.
But then, isn't there sometimes when when that equals 0?
Then it would be a horizontal line at 0.
Oh, just in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not a reason. All right, and then let's take a look at number 5. It says which graph best represents this equation? Again, we need to get it in y equals. So if I have positive 4x, what do I do? Minus 4x on both sides. So I have 5y equals, I'm going to write my negative 4x. Negative 4x, and I have a negative 10, so minus 10. And then how do I get y by itself? If I have 5 times y, what's the opposite? Dividing, good. So I have y equals negative 4 divided by 5 stays as a fraction. And your calculator, negative 10 divided by 5 is negative 2. Okay. So let's go ahead. What is my y-intercept? My y-intercept is negative 2. So let's take a look at our graphs. Does A have a y-intercept at negative 2? Yeah. Does B have a y-intercept at negative 2? Nope. It was positive 2. Does C have a y-intercept at positive? Nope, nope, it's at positive. Does D have a y-intercept at negative 2? All right, so we already have a 50-50 shot. Okay, now what is our slope equal?
Negative.
Our slope is negative, because our slope is negative 4/5.
All 6A.
So, careful, careful.
No, because it's a positive 5, it goes right.
So if our slope is negative, remember this is a positive slope, this is a negative slope. So D has that negative slope and negative 2y-intercept. So D is our answer. Remember, negative slope means that you're going down the stairs. Positive slope, you're going up the stairs. Negative slope, down the stairs. All right, questions on that? Okay. All right, so we're just gonna do, you gotta practice it. So just do some practice. This is one of those joke practices.
Is that on homework?
No, this is just practice. We clearly need some more practice with it.
Call me dumb.
No, so we need more practice. We just learned it today. Most things you learn in math need more than just 5 minutes of practice. Yes. No, today is stinger 5 and 6.
What is over that?
Maybe they like their t-shirt. I like my t-shirt.
I like it too. Allow me anything. You don't do anything.
We had a party last night.
Oh, you're lucky. It's no problem.
Yeah. Why not?
Wow. Always someone is good.
We like parties, so we try to have them something.
What grade do you have?
It's sophomore session.
Wait, so we have to be with our TA for like semester 3
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if that person moves?
for 4 years?
So the group of students will stay together, but the teacher might change. So like when I first came here, I took over another teacher's job, but I got his TA, and then I was with them for the rest of the time.
My TA teacher I grew up with in elementary school. I've known him since kindergarten until 6th grade. So when I was in 6th, at the end of 6th grade.
Oh, man.
Oh really?
Yeah, to here, so.
Oh, that's pretty easy.
Mr. L.
All right, so here is our practice. What's Mr. L's actual last name?
Moglio.
Lamacchio?
Yes.
No.
Moglio.
Lamacchio.
Yes.
That one, right? Okay. So what you're going to do here is, again, you're just practicing graphing a line. Now notice it says show all work for solving for y on the back of or on separate pages. Okay, so you're going to do your work getting y by itself either on the back of the paper or on separate paper. So what we do, it says graph any equation, and then when we extend the graph, it'll cross a letter. Okay, so let's go and do the first one together. Because I don't have extra paper here,
Where did it?
I'm just gonna borrow this guy.
Paper.
All right.
Oh,
So we have 2x plus 3y equals 6. I need to get y by itself.
Yes, you do negative 3 is
No.
Yeah, negative 2x. Good, negative 2x on both sides. Very good, I saw it too. So I have 3y. Anthony, can I combine these?
Yeah.
What does it become? We wish, but 6 isn't an x, is it? It's like trying to combine apples and oranges. So we can't combine these. One is x, one is not. So let's keep our x, and then it's a positive 6. All right, Anthony, redeem yourself. What are we going to do now? How do I get the y by itself? Very good. Divide by 3. Should be writing this down. Everyone should be writing this down.
Where?
Either on the back or on separate paper. That's what I said. All right. Negative 2 divided by 3. This is negative 2 divided by 3. Positive 6 divided by positive 3. Positive 6 divided by 3. 2. All right.
Start plotting.
Let's start plotting. What is my y-intercept?
2.
Positive 2, positive 2, positive 2. Good. So we go up 2. Here we go. All right, now my slope is negative 2/3. So I'm going to go down 2 over 1, 2, 3. All right, if I connect, what line does it hit? Or I mean, what letter does it hit?
C.
C. Okay, let's read the directions. It will cross out a letter. Look for this letter, the string of letters at the bottom, and cross it out each time it appears. So we're going all the way to the bottom. We now cross out C every time we see a C.
Huh? Oh.
That's how we get our answer.
Oh, so we're crossing out every letter that's on the graph?
Whenever it crosses through, that's what you cross out at the bottom.
It's a lot of work.
To cross out letters.
Yeah.
I think we have different definitions of a lot. So we, yeah, down there at the bottom, we're going to cross out your C's.
Wait, all of them?
All what do you call them?
All the C's that you see on the bottom.
I only see 2.
I only saw 2 as well. Oh.
There's 4.
I saw
No.
What? All right, let's go ahead and just do number 4 together just to make sure we're all right with this.
I want to do number 12.
So I have 4x minus 3y equals 12. Good, minus 4x. Anthony, know this.
X plus 12.
All right, we can't combine these, so we have negative 4x, positive 12. All right, who can tell me what we do next?
We do
Divide
the
by
negative.
Good, yeah, we divide by that negative 3. Anthony, are you writing this down?
Wait, why is it negative 3? Oh,
Because it was a negative to start off with.
so you keep positive.
So I have y equals negative 4 divided by negative 3. Your calculator will tell you it's positive 4 over positive 3.
What?
Negative 4 divided by negative 3.
Then we do the 3.
What?
No.
Negative 4. Negative 3. It's on your calculator.
Negative 4 divided by
Then put it back into a fraction.
that one.
You got 1
Oh,
point.
no, my bad. I didn't get 1.
Alright.
I got 0.3.
So remember, actually, because some of us might not remember, how do we put it back into a fraction?
Eliminate.
So we've got negative 4 divided by negative 3. 1.3333333. Math?
Good. Positive 4/3.
Okay,
Plus 4. 12 divided by 3.
but it's a positive 12 and a negative 3.
Negative 4.
Okay, what's my y-intercept?
Negative 4.
Negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, right there. And we have positive slope, so I should see it going like this.
1, 2, 3.
So up 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3. And if I connect those, what does it cross? I. So go to the bottom. Any eyes? Crossbow.
There's 3.
Alright, keep going.
Wait, what would you do for like number 7 where it's x is by itself? You would add the 1 in front of it.
Yeah, so then you have minus 1x minus 1x.
This one is on.
How about
No, so undefined is when we have it's just a number. We can still subtract. So we have y equals to minus. So it's
if y is by itself, you wouldn't divide by it.
Right, yeah.
So what would I do?
So first get your x over.
Minus 3 x.
Put your y equals in front of your x. So then it's not a square.
It's gonna be negative 3 over 1. Or whatever you want. How about the this?
So you just subtract x from both sides. Right, just like we did in minus.
What I add?
touching that?
Man, you can put the one in front, so it's minus 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I would okay, how about this?
So yes. Positive.
Minus 1 x.
So would my binders
You're planning on going to.
Let me do my
Then that'd be minus 1 x, right? So let's go down 1 and then positive 1.
Don't try to do too much in your head because that's what you should think your decisions.
Right down, so if I just write like keywords, that's it. Key numbers. And then after it looks like I everything. Ready?
So, yeah, so once you subtract those, it's how about I let you go 2 minutes early. Does that sound good? So they're not waiting. You go ahead. You say so exasperated like you've been sitting there and I've been not letting you go back.
Oh, yeah, you didn't even drink water, right?
This guy, like, yeah.
You know the
Really?
So now,
I'm going to.
right now, we're $85.
85. What are you going to Alex or something? They moved the concert. It was supposed to be this Friday, today. It was supposed to be today, but they moved it till
So
the
because there was
22nd.
a one in front of my
Are you fine?
You said that you
Dude, they're not even that expensive. There's places that are selling those tickets for like.
So we have to move the X quicker. What do I have to do?
May I get the homework, miss?
Yeah, plus X. We're gonna move the full X.
Miss Margaret, let me decide the homework.
But we like start the X first, so I would say X. And the positive X. Let's try to the Y.
Naturally,
I think that double A could look I like it. I like the feeling better than PS4. I'm not. No, the PS4 is better than the battery. I grew up playing it.
I
had all of them except for the
You are good to go. I'll pass that to the front. Guys, make sure you turn your seat so you can get the homework. Reset. Oh, I'm sorry. Why? Because it takes half a page for one
Next Tuesday, that's
quiz. Don't do that to me. Alright guys, make sure you've returned your calculators. Your homework. Well actually I told them they could to go to the bathroom. Alright, make sure you have returned your calculators. And homework is number 9. We do have our mini quiz next class.
Why are you waiting?